When she go on about me, I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. Come with receipts. Come with receipts. Y'all.
To normalize blackness and also to normalize black excellence.
I went out to tackle group economics, something that hasn't been done in our lifetime, in our generation. And I stepped up to the plate to do so. And it was more than what I thought.
Yo, what it do? Welcome back to another episode of BUA. I'm your host, Heru Adamu. Here we talk business, politics, war, love, and everything in between. Let's get into it. Since her breakout success in 2022 with FNF, Fuck Nigga Free, Memphis rapper GloRilla has become one of the most visible new artists in hip-hop. With fame comes expectation. Recently, public discussion surfaced about her sister, feeling she hasn't done enough financially to uplift the family since her rise. This rise is an old debate. When one person makes it, how much are they responsible for pulling the rest of the family and community up?
GloRilla's sister, her name is Victoria, has responded to us reporting on...
Still bothering that girl?
You bothered her.
Charlamagne the Goddess, elbow head ass mentioning me on the Breakfast Club. Bruh, your name sound like a bitch. When she go on about me, I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. Come with receipts. Come with receipts. Y'all bitches have advertised the goddamn story. And y'all got a big platform. So hell yeah, I got a problem with y'all. Why the fuck y'all ain't got no breakfast up there and it's called a Breakfast Club? Elbow head ass bitch.
First of all, we do have breakfast. We got breakfast this morning.
This morning we do.
What'd I do to Sister Mister? I said something about her for real?
You hoe?
Yeah, you basically said that that she needs to... GloRilla's not entitled to help her.
That's
you said
good
that
advice.
she need to go get her own job.
Say hoe at
you
the end of
said
it.
that
Yes.
there's a reason why GloRilla's probably keeping her away. And to be clear, I didn't play the video of the receipts because I read the text. I told y'all it was in the text message of her receipt. So we reported it the way that it was put out there.
Elbow ass head.
Man, Sister Mister.
What?
We wish you the best, okay? Sister Mister!
Oh, my goodness.
Mister, sister, talk about a two-way twister, shaking up the family tree. Oh.
Oh, she is gonna be pissed.
Mister, what you mean,
She is
man?
going live and she's gonna be upset.
I was on a plane yesterday and somebody sent me that video, so I saw it before I heard it. So all I saw was the visual, and I was like, "What the hell did I do do the finesse 2 times? What? I ain't do nothing to that man."
Oh, she gonna get you.
Oh my God.
So this is an interesting conversation that's been happening on social media between a family of individuals from Memphis, Tennessee. GloRilla is a big rapper, one of the biggest female rappers in the world right now, and I'm sure she's made a lot of money, but you don't really know her situation and how much money that she has made. There's been a lot of celebrities talking on this and speaking on the family and their family problems as of late. I think Boosie got out there and said that, that rappers don't really make that much money. And there's two sides of it. Half the internet has been saying GloRilla doesn't make that much money and she's not entitled to give her family money, her siblings who are grown, or take care of her parents. And then the other half of the internet is saying that if they had the money, they would definitely take care of their parents and take care of their siblings if they made it, out the hood or made millions of dollars or became a superstar. So I just thought it was interesting to really look at it. I mean, rappers don't make as much money as we think because their whole job is to create a persona that they have this lavish lifestyle. That's why they're always flashing money and doing all of this when they really don't have that much money. And they're signed to a label, and that label has an upstream through a bigger label like Universal or something like that. I believe she signed to Yo Gotti, and I don't know what his distribution situation is, but I do know that GloRilla for sure has made a lot of money. I mean, with the singles that she's had and the run that she's had, even within 1 year, I mean, I'm sure GloRilla has made at least $10 million, to herself. Like all her show money, streaming money from all her hit records that she had out. I mean, when you're one of the top stars, especially in a genre like hip hop, which is not the number one genre anymore, by the way, but it's still a top genre. I mean, you come out with one hit record, you could, eat for the rest of your life. I mean, you got artists out here that have one hit wonders in hip hop and they've been eating for the rest of their life. Now, what does that look like? It's different because most artists make money off shows and touring and things like that. So it's just interesting. I mean, how much should we help out our family if we're the one to make it out or the one to become a millionaire or the one to become a breadwinner? In other communities, they don't have as much individualism, I don't believe. I mean, I hear from a lot of entrepreneurs and millionaires all the time that don't hire family. That's the worst thing to do. But I hear that more in the black community than other communities. And I feel like it's due to our individualism that we have. We don't understand group economics. We don't understand unionizing. And that's potentially what this channel is all about. So I think GloRilla being put in a position of leadership should help her family, since she's in a position that is astronomical. Like, she's in a colossal situation. She's not in an average situation. It's not like she made $150,000 last year. There's people out here that made $150,000 last year that helped their parents out and helped their siblings out. There's people that made $100,000 last year and even below that helped their family out and helped their people out. So, I mean, is it her responsibility? Not necessarily. But it's arguable that, yes, she's now in position of leadership. It is her responsibility, along with other celebrities and other millionaires, to provide job opportunities and create businesses. There's so many different rappers out here that have money. I think Megan Thee Stallion just opened up a new Popeyes. It's like she has like 2 Popeyes. It's like, you're a millionaire. You have 2 Popeyes? Like, you're supposed to have like 10, or you're supposed to buy a chain of Popeyes. Like, and I can't really judge her. I'm not mad at her, but at least she's trying, you know, at least she's trying. But it's like there's a lot of rappers and athletes that have money, but they don't know how to grow their wealth. They don't know how to scale their wealth, and they don't know how to think outside of individualism. They don't want to have a business or a company that hires more than one black person. We have sole proprietorships where it's like one person is benefiting, nobody else has an opportunity, and then it seems as though you're hating on them when you want them to give back to the community. So it creates a crab in the bucket mentality, and this is just something that we've seen over and over in the community. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I think what they're calling her sister, her name is Victoria, but the internet named her GloRilla. She's actually been able to book some. She's been able to book some type of leads and do some work now. Now she's doing promotional work for like taco trucks and all these food trucks and clothing companies, and she's actually been able to make herself some money. And GloRilla came out and said, look, now you're getting your 15 minutes of fame. You could have did this and mentioned my name and got clout if you would have just did this in a positive way. But at the same time, would she have? If her sister came out and did something positive and said something positive about her sister, would people be willing to listen to her? Probably not. And a lot of the times, like I said, it's a crabs in the bucket. One sibling makes it out, they don't want any of their other siblings to make it or have success or have access to them. And then even further in this situation, there was a conversation with the mom and the dad, because apparently GloRilla was, she bought her dad a house, but it was a small house or whatever. And her mom is still working at FedEx. So, but apparently the other siblings, because they're like one of 10 children. They're 10 children, and I think the other siblings were saying that her mom was sneaking to work at FedEx and she didn't really have to, and things like that. So, I mean, you have another dynamic of narcissistic parents that are not bringing their children together. Deion Sanders does a lot of shit I don't agree with, but what he does do is he brings his children together. Like, he won't even let his children beef. And I think they didn't have problems with each other, like, recently, you know? And, but he'll get mad. I think he got mad at one of his kids for unfollowing one of his other kids on Instagram. And that's leadership. You know, if you're the parent, a lot of the feud between your children is going to come down to you and you pinning them against each other. And a lot of unsuccessful parents, they pin their children against each other because they don't have any success in the world. So they don't have any value in the world. So they have to have value with the only thing they've ever done, which is have children. You know, have children out of wedlock, in poverty, have their kids sleeping on the floor with roaches for all these years. And the world doesn't respect them. They don't have any success in the world. They only have success through their children. So it's likely that the mom is playing both sides and saying one thing to one kid and saying another thing to the other kid, so that they all give mom that love that she's not receiving from the rest of the world. So speaking on responsibility, let's have a conversation that nobody wants to have. Actor Boris Kodjoe, who has Ghanaian roots through his mother, and comedian Godfrey have been speaking publicly about reclaiming African identity, encouraging diaspora communities to reconnect with heritage, language, and land. Ghana's Year of the Return initiative in 2019 invited descendants of enslaved Africans to reconnect with the continent, Since then, conversations around Pan-Africanism, economic unionization, and young African leadership have intensified. It's reclaiming identity, symbolic or strategic. What does united Africa mean economically and politically in a global power race?
Come on, man.
Right.
I got you. You own.
You think that will spread throughout Africa, or are there too many leaders that are afraid to do that?
I think, by the grace of God, I think we're moving in the right direction. I think the African Continental Free Trade Area that has been established in 2019 in Accra is going to help unite African countries, because we're starting to do away with visa requirements, which is
To travel internally,
a
right?
great step
Just to
for
go
us to
step
be
up.
able
Yeah.
to travel and trade.
Have you met
cross
Malema?
borders.
Have you met Julius Malema from South Africa yet?
Yes.
EFM. Yeah,
Yes.
that's my.
Yes.
I loved.
And there's a lot of young leaders now
Beautiful.
that are coming in power.
Yeah.
That are progressive, and they are innovative, and they're really savvy when it comes to technology, when it comes to infrastructure, manufacturing, and the intent to take ownership of value chains rather than continuing to export raw materials. Keep the raw materials, process the raw materials, and be able to take a larger chunks of the entire value chain. That's very important, and I think that we're moving in that direction. Obviously, we're not there yet, but
I feel like
also we have the youngest generation in the world.
Africa.
Average age is 19. 19. It's 36 here.
Wow.
42 in Europe. 19 in Africa. So the consciousness, the awareness amongst all these young people is tremendous. Super smart, great ideas. Technology helps. It's a great equalizer.
But do you think that could also slow down the process, as Western culture is easier to kind of promote and to spread, right? Like
That's why it's important.
we don't
That's
control
why
the algorithm.
That's why we do what we do with Full Circle, right? Full Circle Africa and now Full Circle.
Yeah, tell us about your Full
Streamline.
Circle. Yeah.
Yeah.
What we're doing is everything we're doing is to normalize blackness and also to normalize black excellence, right? Showing a different narrative in terms of what Africa is all about.
Yeah.
And counteracting old stereotypes and biases, and because this has all been done intentionally.
Yeah.
Right. So, and a part of that is to build a bridge between the diaspora and the continent, because the diaspora is a huge asset to the continent. I mean, there's 2 billion people, right, between Africa and people of African descent. 600 million people is the third biggest country in the world. That's the African diaspora, 600 million people.
Wow.
So that's a very powerful asset to have. So part of our work is to connect investors, to increase investment tourism, to increase economic development opportunities, investment opportunities, to educate people about the great opportunities that are Africa.
Now, this is a conversation that's been going on since 2018 as far as the visas and having dual citizenship in African countries. I think this is very important for Africans of the diaspora and those abroad, because when Africa unites, I mean, they're the #1 world power. Let's just, be clear. I mean, they're the most educated. They have some of the most educated people in the world. They're developing. I believe Nigeria is one of 12 African countries that are the fastest developing countries in the world. But the question is, who's developing these countries? Is it African people? Is it by African people? And is it for African people? There's a lot of Asian community, Arab community, Indian community, and Western cultures that are coming into Africa to exploit Africa. Ibrahim Traore has the right youthfulness and mindset that's needed to unify Africa. But, I mean, it's going to take more than just one country. There's 54 countries of Africa, and before Leonard came in and destroyed and killed 13 million Africans, and they subdivided up Africa, right? Africa used to be unionized. So all of this division is on purpose from the Western world and from powers that be. From the powers that be, including the Western world, dividing Africa is key to controlling resources for their communities. So Black people united is one of the most powerful threats to the rest of the world in general. So we have to understand this. And it's been good that Ghana and Nigeria has been giving citizenship to American Blacks and different Blacks outside of the diaspora to come back. I mean, that's very, very smart. Because, I mean, Blacks in America, they have a lot of like athletes, education, they have infrastructure, they understand plumbing, they understand trades. That like when you go to Africa, you see some of the architecture, it's good, but it's like, why don't we mix the architects and the engineers from all around the world, and then we'll have even a better level of infrastructure here? Why don't we mix some of the great tech people from Nigeria, some of the tech people from Ethiopia, and let them work together? You know how much faster we'll be moving ahead if we were all working together as a unionized African people. But that's why people spend so much time trying to divide us. It's all about identity. It's not about skin tone or culture. We have to identify as one African people if we want to be number one, which is where we belong. Identity is one thing, responsibility is another, and that brings us into leadership. Not national leadership, but personal leadership. In 1921, the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma, known as Black Wall Street, was one of the most prosperous Black communities in America. White mobs destroyed more than 1,000 homes and businesses, killing an estimate of 100 to 300 Black residents. Bombs were reportedly dropped from private aircraft, and an entire economic ecosystem was erased. In 2018, Jay Morrison launched the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, raising millions from everyday Black investors with the same mission of rebuilding economic power through real estate ownership. But years later, many investors expressed dissatisfaction, citing limited liquidity, delayed returns, and concerns over transparency. Tonight, we break down what happened and what we must learn.
For self-accountability, because I realized with the internet, you can say things on one platform, and another platform, and another platform, but not everybody's watching those platforms.
For sure.
Or everybody hears it.
Yep.
So I have taken accountability many times to my investors, publicly, at the town hall, et cetera. But this is a great opportunity on this platform to say, I went out to tackle group economics, something that hasn't been done in our lifetime, in our generation. And I stepped up to the plate to do so. And it was more than what I thought. And I wasn't prepared. And I dropped the ball. We're still in the game, but to this point, we have temporary failure to this point. I failed to this point. I'm sorry. I didn't fraud. I didn't steal. I didn't scheme. I didn't all that. I fumbled a rock. Like, and I got in the ring with Goliath and got my butt kicked.
Let's start over. If we could have done it over, what would you do?
Man, so many things.
Well, okay, before he answers that question, the reason you're here is because I decided to start a podcast.
Excuse me.
There you go, now you go.
Yeah, when we launched June 1st, 2018, we raised about $4 million in about 24 hours, 48 hours, something like that. And then we were like cranking about $1 million a month of raised capital. We had a $50 million raise goal. So that was the plan. The goal was, our tagline was a funding source for the urban community owned by the people. Like, we were gonna raise this capital, $50 million. And to your point, you said before we started the interview, you was like, man, I was gonna build this out and I couldn't get money nowhere. So we want to be the rich uncle for the community that you could call, like, hey, I got a good idea, let's invest, right? And so it was a $50 million, the business plan was based on a $50 million raise, and we were on, in my opinion, we were on track for that. I mean, raising several million your first week. Okay, we rolling. And then that first week though, and I was planning for opposition. I thought it would be like white nationalists or like the other side or something like that. People are opposed to Black people unifying around economics. And I wasn't prepared for the onslaught of bloggers and podcasts and just naysayers and anti-TREF movement that started like a week after we launched. And that kicked up so much that our month 6, which was January 2019, month 6, the SEC literally knocked on our door in Sandy Springs. And then the FBI knocked on our door in Sandy Springs. The SEC came to our office in Lenox Road in Buckhead. And so a dual investigation started because of all the, it's a Ponzi scheme, this is a fraud, this is this noise.
This is before slander though.
The slander started week 1, bro.
Dang.
Yeah. Tone Talks, Yvette Carnell, who ended up being the person that started the False Prophets page. It was like a whole group of them who were just like, and most of them were like the ADOS community, who were like about reparations. And they just had some kind of like beef with me. And then the guy who does one of the Watch Your Money podcast, before he had that podcast, he was offended by, I think I provoked him on the Shade Room. I had posted a video on the Shade Room of me teaching like some tax strategies to Kerry Hilson and B. Simone, some of our friends. And he was in the comments on Shade Room before he ever had a brand. And like, hey, I'm an accountant, you shouldn't be saying that. And I said something probably slick back, just kind of my, my arrogance and kind of whatever. And after that, he was just locked in. And so he had some influence with the NFLPA. I think one was his frat brother or a college mate. So he had the NFLPA send out a warning letter to the whole entire NFLPA of all current and retired players, saying warning about our fund. This is in the first month. So I'm getting to the biggest mistake.
For sure.
So we got a national credible organization like the NFLPA warning all. Mind you, we have like several NFL players in our fund. Rest in peace to Marius Thomas, my brother, like literally like one of my brothers. NFL Hall of Famer, he was in our fund, and others, and that was a tarnish. And then all the online noise, and then the SEC and the FBI started investigating us in month 6 of our company starting. So imagine you start a new company. You're excited about it, you're pumped up. To your point, you tell your staff and your team, everybody put in $2,000, we're gonna go do this, build this studio out. And imagine the 6 months of you doing so, the FBI come investigate you and your company, and whatever other governing agency come investigate your company. So not just the legal cost, which is about $500,000 to defend that, an 18-month investigation, and what it did to my team, because they got all my team laptops, iPads, phones, they're screening everybody's stuff with these devices. And so my team has to go home, my staff has to go home to their families and explain why they're under investigation. So to the point of what the biggest mistake was, when that happened, and we were raising about $1 million a month at that time, it dwindled down to $100,000 a month. It was too strong of a current to continue to raise capital upstream against slander, we're a company that's based on equity, having capital to loan out capital or to give capital infusions or partnerships. When you can't raise capital as a company where your business model is based on deploying capital, it's a struggling business model at that point. And so my biggest mistake was not recognizing that sooner, understanding how severe those investigations were and just that whole climate was. And if I was coaching somebody now who was starting a fund, and their fund got under investigation in 6 months, and it was an online army opposing their efforts to raise capital from online, I'd be like, shut it down.
So you see how difficult it is to raise capital to begin with, but especially for black men in America. I mean, even with like Dr. Umar trying to raise, it's a different situation. I mean, Jay Morrison is raising like private capital for private equity, working as like a hedge fund. But he's naming it after the Tulsa, Oklahoma situation, which kind of raises red flags to the black community because they feel like they're always being scammed to begin with. With like Dr. Umar, he's raising just free capital, like give me the money to open this school. And you see how difficult it is for him to open a school. You see how difficult it is for Jay Morrison to have a hedge fund that's based upon, building black people up. If he just had a regular hedge fund, and he's savvy enough to have another culture or another person represent him, I'm sure black people would have been all in, but it's the fact that it's a black man leading a hedge fund and he's raising capital with the consciousness in mind that we're doing this for and by black people to uplift ourselves. It was his own kind that crushed him. It was black people that were calling the FBI and the SEC. Like he said, people that were wanting reparations, black people that got their hands out and want reparations from white people. They're mad at black individuals like this that are building up their own funds and creating ideas and ways to legitimize the black community through group economics. So it'll be your own black people, and that's a problem that we have in our community right now, is that we think that everybody's with us. It's a small group of black people that want to succeed, and it's around 2%. 98% of other black people would love for Indian, Arab, Asian, white people to continue to lead them, because whenever you're leading yourself, you have to be responsible for irrigation, plumbing, major systems, war, defending yourself, things like that. So black community, they don't want to be responsible. So that's why they tear down black men that are building things from ground up, and they call it a scam. They say, oh, I put my money in, I didn't get my money back. nobody's trying to scam you. Nobody wakes up in the morning like, yeah, I mean, there are scammers, of course. But if anybody's to blame for scamming, you'd have to look at the government. You'd have to look at people that's in position of power to actually scam you. When the Somalians scammed, I mean, it's not a big deal. Nobody really cares, you know? But when black people scam, it's a huge deal. When they're already at the bottom, you can expect them to scam, you know? So there's no trust and there's no pride and black pride within the black community. So we always think our leaders are trying to scam us every single time. Whether they got a course to sell, whether they have something for you to invest in. But we spend our money on scams all day. Designer clothes, cars that are not really luxurious, but they have brands attached to European superiority, things like that. I mean, we'll spend $500 on a regular t-shirt because it has a European brand on it. You know what I mean? So, and then we call ourselves being scammed by black men who are trying to raise capital, and the whole time he's being slandered and trying to be destroyed. And we don't see those type of things. We're just like, oh, it's a scam. He raised money, and then we're quick to laugh. Like when Dr. Umar, I think he was asking for some money the other day on his Cash App. People were just, the whole internet was just laughing at him. Especially other black leaders were saying that, see, this guy's a scammer. He's raising capital. He's asking for money, things like that. That's that individualism again. People don't understand. So it's a big group of individuals that's competing against the rest of the world that's working together. Other communities understand together because that's all they have. You ever heard the term, we all we got? Other communities understand that. Like, they understand we all we got. So at the end of the day, it's just like women. You can't hurt women because women birth children. So like without women, you can't even have humanity in general. So like, you can't like hurt women. That's why they need to be protected, because they're the manifestors of reality to begin with. You understand? So it's the same thing with community. We can't go and not have community because we wouldn't have individualism without community to begin with. So the real question isn't just about one fund. It's about identity, power, and ownership. If we're rebuilding, who are we rebuilding as? Let's talk about reclaiming identity. A recent roundtable discussion centered on whether black men truly protect and trust black women and what protection actually looks like. Historically, black women have been central to the civil rights movement, family stability, and economic participation. Yet statistics also show disparities in marriage rates, incarceration rates amongst men, and income gaps affecting family structure. Protection isn't just social media rhetoric, it's economic stability, emotional discipline, physical courage, strategic leadership. So tonight we ask, are black men demanding respect without responsibility? And what does strength really look like in 2026?
I'm interested, you know.
I'm listening, so like I'm just gathering information. I have a lot.
Well, I'm saying both of y'all.
No, same. Yeah.
I know,
Jump in there.
How are y'all thinking beyond like I'm gonna protect my partner? Because I think that there's a value in that. I think there's a value in I'm gonna protect my partner. Ain't nothing gonna happen to my partner. At the end of the day, though, when you have such big systems that are targeting you and doing their best to pull y'all apart, doing their best to divide y'all and pit y'all against each other, you can't depend on, and that's something that we're taught. Masculinity is how powerful we can be and how we can protect what we own and what we, you know what I'm saying? That is not what protection is. That's not what safety is. So I'm thinking about, you know, outside of that, how do y'all think about safety outside of just I'm the protector? You know what I'm saying? How do we build that?
The thing that pops into my head right now as we're having this conversation is the system is capitalism, and what that looks like is we're talking about therapy, which I think is very important, but we don't think about the colonial aspect of therapy, which I mentioned in our conversation earlier, and how capitalism and this individualistic view of our responsibility as well is tied to breaking up of our communities. You talked about a village. So when we're thinking about our families, like you as a father, I'm not a dad, I don't have any children, I don't plan on it. When people think, okay, I have a family and I'm raising my children, it's like mom, dad, kids. And we forget like that is a lot of pressure, and it's not supposed to be that way.
Right.
I think it's supposed to be a community of people that are helping each other, and we have not created that community. It's just like I'm over here with my family here, I'm over there with my family there, and there's there's no communication. And I think that's ultimately something that's really important, is us being able to come together and create from there, create the community where everyone has a responsibility to themselves and each other.
Our natural ways have been dismantled. So basically, we're under a government that doesn't have our best interests at hand. And he spoke on the political situation that we're in, which is capitalism. So it's basically every man for themselves. Are we protecting black women? Absolutely not. But we also live in a time where we don't have a chance to protect our women because life is so easy. I mean, you have police, you have housing. You're not like back in the day, you know, protecting your woman from a wolf or a bear, or having to hunt, or even protecting her from other men. A lot of times in today's society, men, they're like, I'm a protector and a provider, but it's like, you, first of all, you work for another man. You don't even have any business, you know? Then you don't really protect. Like, you have a gun in the house, but when do you really use it? You know, you don't really ever have to use it. I mean, even if you did, I mean, you got locks, alarm systems. We live in a very easy society to say that we protect women. And then we expect our women to still cook and clean and be submissive and feminine and fit and all of these different things. And then we're just like, we protect and provide. Whole time, you don't do anything at your job. You're there for 8 hours. You might work 2 whole hours. You don't do anything physical. You don't do anything really challenging or hard. Then you come home. Nobody's trying to rob or rape or pillage your village. You just have a gun in the back that you never use, and you're saying that you protect. So even when it comes to like physicality and masculinity, black men don't even have the opportunity to do that, you know? So I think what he touched on is family and community. Again, we're using the same term, individualism. We don't have our villages anymore, and that's a big part of protection. Like, we don't get together around the round table like these men are doing here and have conversations about how we can protect our community, how we can open up businesses, how we can secure ourselves, how we can prepare and strategize for our enemies. We don't even believe we have an enemy. So it's hard to protect against something that you don't even know what you're protecting against. They think everything's sweet. Most black men don't think they have an enemy. And like I said, they don't have to do any protecting. They don't have to do anything hard, physical. They never have to fight. They're in America where laws are facilitated by their enemy. Protection is facilitated by their enemy. So fighting is illegal. Breaking into somebody's house, robbing, pillaging, they don't have to deal with any of that stuff. It's already been taken care of by their enemy, and that's generally how they like it. They don't want to actually have to fight and actually protect their women. They just want the respect of a man without being a man, without doing the hard things that it takes to be a man. So this isn't about tearing down. It's about building up. Economic power, cultural clarity, personal responsibility. This is Black Union Address. I'm Heru Adamu. I'm going to see y'all in the next one.